Hey, who is there? This is Topsy Gift online today, and we're talking about the effect of male child molestation. I'm sorry, I think I had an internet issue, I don't know, and I was cut off. But I'm back again. So, who is joining us? Let's do this together. Let's speak for the boy child, because some persons has been talking about just the girl child, forgetting that the male child also suffered this whole molestation. So if nobody talks, if nobody say anything, then we are not doing ourselves good. We're not doing our kids good either. So who is the first on the line today? Who are we going to have first? Who is the first? Yesterday we were talking about the true life story about a guy who actually went through this sex molestation, and till today he still suffers the trauma. The effect is still on him. So I was like, if we don't talk about this, if we don't find a way to educate the public, to educate our families, uncles, auntie, parents, and even teachers, I think it should even be taught in school. If nobody says anything about it, if we don't educate the public about it, then it's really going to continue, and kids are not going to be aware about the effects and the dangers and the problems of all this. They are just going to find themselves in this whole shit, and they wouldn't know how to come out of it. Thank you so much. My husband just joined. Clemsy Clement, thank you for joining. Sam, thank you for joining. God bless you. Please share this video, invite your friends, and catch somebody. Okay, just like I was saying yesterday, talking about a true life story about how a boy was sexually molested, and till today, his parents did not know anything about it. And some persons people are just talking about the female child, sex abuse, about the female child, forgetting that even these male children also go through this thing, this sex molestation, either from teachers, either from friends, from neighbors, from gardeners, from nannies, and a lot persons out there, guys who are going through the sex molestation, but they can't say it, they can't do anything. Mr. N, for joining, please do well to share this video and invite your friends. Though I'm a lady, but I've chosen to talk about the male child molestation because it's really important. It's really important. If we don't educate our children, if we don't educate the public, if we don't educate our parents on the effect of this male child molestation, it's going to continue. It's going to continue. If any of you, if you guys are hearing me properly, can you just tell me you're hearing me? I want to be sure I am right on track. I want to be sure that I'm properly heard. Then we can really continue. So you can hear me, just say I can hear you. Hello, Oluwafemi, thank you for joining. Please share this video, tag somebody, invite your friends. Thank you so much for joining. So, right, like I was saying, I told you guys about a true life story about a friend of mine who was sexually molested, who was sexually abused, and he's a boy. Can you imagine? But till today, his parents do not know anything about it. Pastor Louis, thank you for joining. Mr. Henry, thank you for joining. Please share this video and invite your friends. Ogechi, thank you for joining. God bless you guys. Some of you were here yesterday when we talked about the life story about a boy who was sexually molested, and I told you guys we're going to be talking about the effect, because looking at that boy, the effect of the child molestation he went through is still occurring. It's still in him. He's still battling with the child abuse, the sex molestation he went through when he was growing up. Till date, as I speak to you, that boy is still struggling with that same effect, with that same thing. He's still struggling to come out of the psychology, of the emotional trauma, of everything he went through. Until today, his parents do not know anything about it. So I have chosen to say no to child molestation, no to female child molestation, no male child molestation, for God's sake. If you want to have sex, if you want to have fun, please go out there and get your mates. Go out there and get somebody in agreement with you to have a relationship, or to even get married. So you don't take, because these people are kids, these are pretty kids, and you want to take advantage of their ignorance, advantage of their childhood, advantage of their tenderness. You want to take you want to take over it and then molest them sexually, and so you could be free. I really do not understand how an adult, a grown-up adult, will want to molest a child, for God's sake. I can't imagine the fun, the enjoyment you get from sexually molesting a little child. I don't understand. This is just devilish. This is just demonic. It is totally unacceptable for me. As long as I'm concerned, even if I am an animal, I am not human. Looking at the whole situation, I can't stand the fact that some persons out there can neither control their vagina nor their penis, for God's sake, to take advantage of children. Because male child molestation here I'm talking about, it's not just about another male molesting another male. Even females molest children, young male children. Even female does that. Thank you so much, Sir Eddie Young, for joining. Thank you, Peter, for joining. Thank you, Progress, for joining. God bless you. So I have said to myself, no, I have to talk about this. This is a true life story I told you guys yesterday, and I didn't frame it up. It is something that has happened to somebody, and this guy has confided in me and said to me, please don't tell anybody, because when they go through this molestation, they are afraid to speak up, because they are afraid to be condemned by the public. They are afraid to be condemned by their parents, by friends. So they can't stand what their friends will continually call them in the future. The laughter, the mockery, they can't stand it. So what they end up doing is to just pretend that everything is fine, and while they are dying inside. So I've decided to say to myself, I'm going to come out to educate the public, to educate parents, to educate aunties and uncles out there who have brothers, sisters, and who also have kids, or parents who are aspiring to have children. I think this topic should also be inculcated in schools. It should be indoctrinated into schools. Let teachers start enlightening kids on this whole thing, because believe me, you can't imagine the number of children who undergo sexual molestation on daily basis all over the world. When you check the statistics, it's so painful. It is so painful. So even as an adult who is a virgin, you undergo pains to be this virgin. Even as an adult, you can't even imagine a little child. You can't even imagine the pain that little child had to go through for another full-blown grown-up man or woman to want to take advantage of these kids. So we are saying total no to injustice, total no to this whole nonsense, total no to it. We can't stand this whole thing going over and over and repeatedly happening to our kids. Okay, so this young boy actually suffered the trauma of being sexually molested. Hi, Progress. Thank you for joining. Like I said before, she's saying hi to me. So hi. So like I was saying yesterday, I had to share this true life story from this little boy who was constantly being molested by his own father's workers. His own father's workers were busy sexually molesting him without his father's notice. His father was the one paying them salary. So by right, the father is in authority. He has the ability to, sack all of them. But because that boy, he's too small to even want to think something of that nature. he wasn't having boldness to, tell his parents about all the happenings, to all the things that was going on right there under his father's nose. So this little boy was busy. He was being sexually molested at work. Then in school, a teacher will also molest him. A female teacher will also molest this young boy. Until today, he still lives with the trauma. He still lives with the trauma. And trust me, one of the effects I will be listing today, some of the effects that I will be listing today are practically what is happening to that guy as I speak to you. Practically what is happening to him. So we need to address this. We need to talk to the public. If you have brothers, if you have sisters, please learn how to educate them about their important part of their bodies, such that nobody has permission to touch it without their father's or mother's consent. If you are an auntie, you have a little child staying with you. If that child is about 5 to 6 years old, tell that child that, baby girl, baby boy, you see, the way God made us, He is so wonderful. He made us so nice, and trust me, you are beautiful, you are handsome, but there's something I'm going to tell you which is very important. And then the child is going to be curious to want to know. And you tell that child, do you know there are some parts of your body that nobody is permitted to touch apart from daddy, mommy, doctors, and that doctors, for doctor to have to touch your body, is either auntie is there, uncle is there, or daddy and mommy is there with the doctor. Because I've also heard cases where doctor rape people. So if doctor must also touch it, auntie must be there, uncle must be there, and daddy or mommy must be there. So you list that part of their body, tell them their chests, tell them their boots, their lips, and the thing between their legs, that nobody has the right to touch it without taking permission from daddy. So just this little awareness will help the child to want to know that if any other person touches this part of your body without this part of your body, daddy must hear it, uncle must hear it, auntie must hear it. With such education, you will help to reduce sexual child molestation. Because anybody who touches his or her or that part of body you listed, trust me, that child will come and tell you, auntie, do you know what happened today? My uncle in school touched my chest, and you told me that my chest, nobody is supposed to touch it apart from daddy, mommy, and the doctor has to be with mommy, auntie, or uncle before touching any part of my body. Believe me, you have just gotten a relevant information that would save that child for life. Thank you so much, Mr. Edim, for joining. Thank you, Ogaga, for joining. Thank you, Boniface, for joining. Please share this video, invite your friends. This is a very serious issue. This is a very important thing that if we don't talk about it, believe me, no, I'm sure some people will say, I don't care. You won't care because it doesn't happen to your children. You won't care because it doesn't happen to your sisters, your brothers, your cousins, your nephews, your nieces. You won't care until these things happen to them. That's when you will start caring. It hasn't happened to any of my family member, but I still have to talk about it. Why? Because I care about the people it's happening to. I care so much about the children, the innocent children it's happening to. So I feel so much pain inside my heart to watch an adult take advantage of kids who do not even understand their bodies. So the effect today, just like yesterday, I told you guys about a true life story, how this innocent boy was constantly molested. And today I told you guys I would be listing some of the effects that I got, that I saw this guy going through, but he never told me that he had this until I constantly, question his attitude, question the reason why he's always absent-minded. He's always having some, shocks. He's always having some pains. So I tried to know why that guy was living the way he was living, until he opened up to me to tell me how he was severally molested while he was a child. Believe me, that guy is about 20-something years now, but the effect of that child molestation, he's still feeling it. He's still feeling it. It's so painful in his heart. Imagine that he was taught, imagine that he was enlightened, at least the normal enlightenment before he gets to 10 years for you to sit them down to tell them about sex. At the age of 9, 10, sit down and tell them proper sex. Don't tell them, don't think that they are too young to really understand sex life. At the age of 3, 4, 5, 6, you should tell them about the important part of their bodies that nobody has the right to touch. But from the age of 9, please tell them about sex. It will help you avoid them being molested. You get? So today we are going to be looking at the effect of this, sex molestation on these children. So children who undergo this sex molestation are always ashamed. They are always ashamed. They always stay on their own. Number one point is they always stay lonely. They always stay on their own. They don't like to get into trouble because they don't want anybody to judge them. They are ashamed to be judged, and that is why they cannot speak up. They are ashamed to be judged. And the second effect on these children is that they lose love. The loss of love. And this loss of love makes them not to have, not to be able to manage a relationship or a family in the future. The psychology of the effects of what they went through, trust me, will make them not to have love for humans. You get? So one of the effects is that they always stay on their own. They are always staying on their own, and they are ashamed to be judged. So they don't want to be judged, and that is why they cannot tell you. They cannot open up. And second reason is effect we have here is that they lose love, the lose of love. So they lose taste for love, and that is why no matter how handsome or beautiful they seem to be, when they get into relationships, they can't stand it, they can't maintain it because of this abuse. Because of this abuse, another thing here is that they lose self-esteem. They don't usually have self-esteem because of the problems, because of being judged. They don't have self-esteem. Thank you, Theophilus, for joining. Thank you, Chinedu, for joining. God bless you. Share this video and invite your friends. So this child abuse, it has to get stopped. It has to be stopped. And let our aunties and uncles and parents out there not fail to educate their children on these things. Don't wait until it happens to your child before you take them to psychology, or you take them to the hospital and then start teaching them what you would have taught them to avoid what has already happened. So they lose self-esteem. There is no boldness to want to associate. There is no boldness to want to, play around like other kids. if you watch the kids, whenever they want to take a picture with groups of people, they always distinguish themselves. They always separate themselves from other kids. They always like to stay lonely, because the memories of what has happened keeps occurring at them over and over again. So they lose self-esteem. They feel they are worthless. They feel that there's this feeling of being worthless. There's this feeling of being worthless that comes inside of them, that somebody has taken a part of them. And so because that person, is not supposed to, even though they are children, but they still have the feelings, the mindset that this thing that this uncle or this auntie is doing to me is wrong. So because of that, they go into their shell. They look so calm, so quiet. They always lose thoughts. They are always subconscious. They are always thinking. So I've told you guys right now that one of the effects is that they have this feeling of self-worth, worthlessness. They have low self-esteem because their psychology has been distorted. There is lack of trust in adults. Trust me, these children lack trust in every adult, including their parents. Some of them even get so angry at their parents such that they blame their parents for what they are going through, because they feel like their parents did not secure them. That their parents have the ability to secure them but did not do so. So there's going to be hatred, parental hatred. These kids are going to transfer the anger that they got from this person who sexually molested them. They're going to transfer the anger to their parents or any other adults around them. Thank you, Peter, for joining. Please share this video and invite your friends. Trust me, this is a problem in our society and we have to talk about it. It is high time uncles, aunties, parents, even teachers in school start teaching these things. Let it get to a point where teachers, let it become a subject in school, that children from the age of 4, 5, 6 years should be taught about the important part of their bodies that nobody has the right to touch. By so doing, whenever anybody touches it, they will report to their guardian or their parents. If you are a father, if you are a mother, you tell them your chest, your boots, your mouth, and the thing between your legs. Anybody who touches it, apart from your parents, apart from the doctor, and the parent has to be there, auntie, uncle has to be there while the doctor is touching it. Okay, because also there are some doctors who also molest children. So when you give them this little information, when you say, tell them anybody who touches it, apart from this group of people I listed, tell me. You get? So no matter the threat that anybody gives them out there, no matter the threat that if you tell daddy you're going to die, if you tell me I'm going to kill you, if you tell anybody you're going to die or I'm going to kill you, that those children will still come back and tell you these things. So some persons, like I said, will say, these things, they are not important, let's forget about it. Make child, is it today? It has always been, so it's not a problem, let's forget about it. You can forget about it, but don't be too sure if it's not already happening to your nieces, your cousins, to your brothers, sisters, to your children out there, because they will not tell you. Trust me, they won't tell you. This guy who told me his life story, how he was constantly sexually molested, till today as I speak to you, his parents are not aware of it. His parents are not aware of this whole nonsense, of what he suffered when he was growing up. Hello Farah, thank you for joining. Please share this video and invite your friends. And also, you can drop your comments as this live broadcast is going on. We have to say no to child abuse. We have to say no to whether female or male sexual child abuse. A lot of us have been talking about just the girl child, but please, the male children also face this whole nonsense. And do you know what? When these things are not addressed, some of these children who were constantly and repeatedly abused later on turn out to be abusers. They turn out to also start abusing other kids. Why? Because they feel the pain of being abused, and it's as if the whole world did not do anything about it. It was as if nobody cared about them. So for them to feel satisfied and be happy and feel that they have revenged what the world have done to them, they go ahead to abuse other children. It's like a payback. It's like a payback. So if you and I don't do anything about it, trust me, we might be victim. Our children might be victim of this whole thing. So those children who were once abused turn out, without proper psychological, training, and having been taught and having been talked out of that effect, of that trauma, they turn out to be abusers themselves. They turn out to be abusers. Then they will now start abusing other children, thinking that, oh, since I was abused, nobody cared about me. Nobody want to know what I was feeling right inside of me. Because I was abused and nobody cared, let me also abuse other children. So growing up as an adult, they will now start abusing other innocent children. Mr. Paul, thank you for joining. Adewola, thank you for joining. Please share this video and invite your friends. Trust me, what I'm telling you today is a true life story, and this guy is still very much alive. I don't know if he's an abuser, but I'm telling you, the effect of what he went through is still haunting him. He's still inside. He's still feeling it. So imagine if that guy hasn't perhaps given his life to Christ and is not born again, and is still feeling this anger, this pain still keeps coming back. Trust me, he's going to be a child abuser. He's going to be an abuser tomorrow if he doesn't work on his psychology. So parents, we need to start educating our children about this. Please do not say they are kids. Please do not say they are kids. So let's move on. I told you guys that one of the effects here is what? It's low self-esteem. These kids don't have self-esteem. So one of the effects these children feel is that they don't feel secured around people. They feel the sense of worthlessness. They don't have self-esteem. That is number 3. They also lack trust in adults. They lack trust in adults because because who molested them was not a child. The person who molested them was an adult. So every other adult coming around them, they feel so insecure. So they lack us to everybody. So they don't want to associate. They always want to stay on their own. They're always lonely. And another thing, watch the way they eat. Watch the way they eat. They don't eat like every other children eat. Watch them carefully. Like parents, if you go home today, if you go home from your offices, carefully observe your children and the way they act. Carefully observe your cousins, your nephews, your niece. Carefully observe them. They don't need to tell you, but some of the attitude I'm going to be listing today might help you to observe your children. Thank you so much, Izu, for joining. Thank you, Ifoma, for joining. God bless you. Please share this video and invite your friends. So some of these effects, you're going to be seeing it on these children. If they have been threatened that if they tell anybody that they are going to be killed, or they are going to be punished, or they are going to die, carefully observe them, you will see, you might see some of this effect I'm listing from those children. Even your neighbor's children, they might also, even your housemaid, they might be sexually molested, and you don't know. So listen carefully. If you have pen and if you have book, please put this down and carefully watch these children, so you can see if these things I'm seeing, if they are actually portraying some of this attitude. These points I'm listing might be a pointer to tell you that these children are facing some way of child abuse. Okay, so the number one thing I talked about was low self-esteem. They don't have self-esteem. Number two, they don't have they feel this sense of worthlessness. They feel they are not good enough. They want to always avoid problems. They don't want to stay around people. If they want to take pictures with people, they always want to be on their own. Watch those children who have been molested. They always go sit on their own. They are always on their own. They always lost consciousness. They always lost consciousness. They always thinking. Sometimes they are not in the here and now. They are not in the here and now. They are not in the here and now. They don't feel secured around adults. They don't trust adults. And their eating habit is quite different from every other children eating habits. They eat sluggishly, and sometimes they eat like wolves, because they are just looking for a way to get that thing out of their memory. Okay, they eat as if there are a lot of people eating at them. Sometimes they eat and they can be eating a particular food and be lost for hours, forgetting that they are eating. So you have to watch your children carefully, their attitude. They always have nightmares. They have sleeping problems. They are always depressed. They always avoid problems, like I said. They are always depressed. They run away from adults. They refuse to go to school. They will constantly refuse to go to school. Maybe the person molesting them is in school. Parents, we have to be careful. Aunties and uncles, we have to be careful. They always run away from school. They always run away from school. They don't want to go to school. So they have unusual aggressiveness. They have unusual aggressiveness. There's this anger that comes that you wonder how a child can be this fierce. They want to transfer anger to everybody. The thing just comes up all of a sudden, and they will be having this feeling of wanting to kill somebody. Some of the children also thinks about suicide. They have always suicide running in their mind. Thank you so much, Mafunke, for joining. God bless you. Please share this video and invite your friends. Some of our parents will say, we don't care, we don't with it. I used to pray with my children. I used to teach them the word of God. I take them to they attend reverend they attend reverend schools, biblical school. I don't know how to say it, a school of God, where maybe a pastor is the owner of the school. The school prays all the time. No, I don't think evil can. You are not too sure, because these children will be threatened not to tell anybody. They will only be threatened not to tell anybody. So you don't have to beat your chest and say, okay, my children are good children, they are born again, they have the fear of God, so I don't think anything will befall them. Nobody prays for evil for their children. Nobody prays that your children or our children should experience evil. But it's an awareness we have to create to our children, so we avoid the unseen things that are yet to befall us. Okay, they are yet to befall these innocent kids. So creating the right awareness will help you to avoid whatsoever that would have happened in the future. So like I said, if these children are pretty 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, do not fail to tell them about the important part of their body and who has the right to touch this part of their bodies. Like mother, father, the doctor has the right to touch your chest, to touch your boots, to touch your lips, to touch the thing between your legs. So any other person who touches it, be it my brother, my cousin, my sisters, my auntie, the housemaid, the gate man, the teacher, anybody on the street, whoever touches this part of your body, apart from daddy, mommy, and the doctor, do not fail to tell me. And if the doctor must touch it, that doctor must be close to daddy, mommy, or auntie and uncle. So that doctor doesn't have to touch it in private. So by educating, just this little thing you said, trust me, you will not know how much good you have done to your children. You will not know how much good you just did to those little children. There are wicked people out there who have been molested and who have vowed to keep molesting innocent children. It's important, parents. It's important. Some of us will say, our parents did not teach us, so I don't think it's important. And since it did not happen to us, we weren't taught, and it didn't happen to us. We didn't. Let's not also teach our children. They might even get corrupt. Really? Don't be too sure. So give them the right awareness that is needed at their age. Then when they are 8, 9, 10 to teenagehood, give them the proper sex education. It is important. Give them the proper sex education. So I told you guys that this story I was telling you was a life story that happened to a boy, and he's still facing the trauma till today. It is so painful. It is so painful. It is so painful. He is still going through the thing that his father's workers molested him. He's still facing it till today. His female teacher in school molested him. This guy is still alive today. And he told me this thing, and his parents do not know about it. So I cannot imagine how many more children that female teacher will keep molesting even after he leaves the school. We have to say no to this nonsense. We have to say no. No, nobody has the right to molest our children. Even other people's children, nobody has the right to do that. As long as they are kids, you don't have right to go to their privacy. If you want to have sex, go get your own wife or get your own husband. We have to say no to child molestation. We have to say no to it. We all have to say no to it. Trust me, this thing I'm telling you also ranges even in cousins. It also happens in cousins. Cousins also have sex. Oh, Jesus. You will confidently go to your cousin's house and leave your children. Please, because she's my sister or my brother, let me leave my children with them, and then freely go to the office or freely go to London, to travel to any country. I'm sure my kids are safe. You said what? There are some cousins, okay, in Christian in religion, we don't believe in cousins having, sex with another cousin, or even having to marry each other. But in some other religions, they don't have problem with it. So let those people not corrupt our children. We don't believe in it. So please, let our children be. So some cousins also molest their other nephews and nieces. And because they are your brothers and sisters, you don't feel insecure leaving your children with them. You feel even more secure leaving your children with them. But you don't know how much harm you are doing to your children. Why is it? Have you asked yourself, why is it that if I want to take my children to my sister's place, they are not excited? Is it that the girl is not excited, or one of the boys is not excited? Of, Mommy, I don't want to go. Daddy, I don't want to go. Do you know what they are looking for? They are looking for you. They want you to sit down so that they can tell them what they went through the last holiday they spent in that house. They want to tell you, they want to reach out to you, but you are not listening. You are too busy. Parents are too busy chasing money. They want to make money. The same money you are chasing to train these children is what is destroying your children, even because you are chasing the money, and your children are being consequently and constantly sexually molested, and you don't even know about it. You don't even know about it. So I told you guys who were here yesterday that one of the ways for you to get all information from your children at ease without stress is, one, be friends with your children. When you are friends with your children, trust me, they will tell you everything. Don't be too harsh with them when they share the good, the bad, the ugly with you. Don't be too harsh on them. Number 3, I told you guys yesterday was share your daily activities with your children. When you're a mother, you went out and a man tries to try to psych you, like try to just ask you out as a mother. If you are friends with your children, when you come home, gladly gather all your children and joyfully tell them what happened. Tell them how a man wanted to, how a man psyched you, but you said no. By so doing, you will be amazed that how much those children will share back to you. They will tell you also what happened to them that same day. Okay, these were some of the things I listed yesterday that will help you get information from your children at ease. You don't need to shout, you don't need to flog them, you don't need to threaten them. At ease, you're at ease. They just share information with you and everybody's relaxed. So if you're a daddy, you have an encounter, you go out and other women want to also psych you, excitedly come back and share with your family. With that openness, when the whole family is open to themselves, the children are open, daddy, mommy, they are open. Of course, that openness is a medium of getting information from them to know who wants to take advantage of them. So they wouldn't know what you are doing. They just want, you want to get information. So you have a way of getting your information without their notice. Okay? Without their notice. So these children who face this child molestation, some of them, like I told you, they get unnecessarily aggressive. They get unnecessarily aggressive without anybody even offending them. And even if somebody offends them, the rate at which they get angry is to the extreme that you wonder how can a child be feeling this rate of anger. So they either refuse to go to school, to go to parties, or to go to aunties and uncles' house, or to be given out to a nanny. They always refuse one thing or the other. So do not say, oh, I think this child doesn't want to go spend holiday with auntie, that's why You don't want me to rest. This little boy, you don't want me to rest. That is why you don't want to go and stay with uncle or auntie. Be careful. Maybe that child is trying to pull you to come and see a sign, to sit you down to tell you what they went through the last time they went to auntie and uncle's houses. So they always try to, like I said, they always want to kill themselves. They always thought of suicide mission, and if these children are not properly taught and not properly addressed, if these issues are not properly addressed, these children will become abusers in the future. They become abusers in the future. So we really have to talk about this. No child has to undergo molestation from any, whether it's teacher, uncle, father, pastor, sisters, whoever. No child has that is worth enough to go through this whole pain, because these children go through serious pain and emotional trauma. So they always have extreme fear and anxiety. They always have extreme fear and anxiety. So, like I said, they have depression. You always see them, they are depressed. They have sleep problems. They always have nightmares. And they lack self-worth and self-esteem. They always like to stay out of trouble. They have fear for adults. They lost even to love. They lost the taste of love. And these children do not have most of them cannot maintain a good family tomorrow, because they always have problems with the way they love. They always have problems with relationships. When they pretty grow up and want to get a partner, they always find faults in humans. They always find fault in other adults, because they've lost love, they've lost the taste of love and even trust. So they find it difficult to trust other people. They find it difficult when they grow up. They find it difficult to trust their wives or their husbands. All right? They find it difficult to trust their wives or their husband. Okay, I have an interesting write-up here by Ma'am Ifoma, and I'm about to read it to you guys. I hope this will make sense. She said, when my son was refusing to go to school at age 6+, at first I was confused about the morning dramas. He couldn't tell me why he didn't want to go to school. He later realized that his 1:1. He later realized that his 1:1 support assistant was being abused to him. Wow. It is still a mystery that she actually did. Jesus. We will never know. And he said, when I took him to the doctor, she is being rude to me, but I fought the school administration, got her replaced. Wow. You can imagine. So you can imagine if the mom wasn't a friend to her child, this child will be going through this thing without anybody knowing, and he'll be dying in silence. So this is something we really need to talk about. Nobody has the right to tell another person to keep quiet from talking about these things. A lot of boys have gone through it and they are still keeping quiet because they are afraid that they will be condemned, they will be judged by other people. So it's a very big problem that we have to talk about. Let us all say no to this injustice. We have to say no to child molestation, no to male child, female child molestation. Whoever is out there who is a molester, we have to get you arrested. You have to face the law for using children. If you have been molested before, how did it become the children's fault? The innocent ones you are abusing now, how did it become their fault? So you have to wake up to reality and stop using children. Parents, please, in your school, in your offices, wherever you find yourself, in your compound, in your environment, educate your children properly. This is a big problem. Children are dying in silence and they don't have voice. We have to be voice to the voiceless. We have to be their voice. We have to speak up. So this boy, like I told you yesterday, was being sexually molested by a female teacher and his father's workers. So two group of people were molesting a boy. A female was molesting him in school, and male his father's workers were molesting him right in his father's office. Can you imagine the pain this boy went through? And that is why he is very aggressive. The person I'm telling you about, he is so aggressive. At times he is lost. He is lost in thoughts. If you watch the way he eats like there is no tomorrow. So if we really don't talk about this, it's really going to be our concern someday. If it's not our concern now, it's going to be our concern someday. And I hope it doesn't become too late for us to really talk about, too late for us to say no to. Thank you so much, Ma, for sharing that. This is really educating. You can imagine this story you just what you just posted here, Ma, is a proof that male child molestation is actually going on. It's actually happening. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. God bless you, Ma. I hope we have learned something today. I hope we have made common sense. I hope we have just made common sense that we need to educate our children, that we need to be guidance, we need to be parents and parents indeed, and stop chasing money that at the end of the day we would use the same money to take our children to psychiatrists. That we would rather lose our family, that we would lose our family and be chasing money. I told you guys yesterday, in the rank of creation, it is God. After God is your family, before your ministry, which is your office or whatever purpose you have been called to do on this earth. After the ranking of God, which is the supreme order, then it is your family. So if you lose your home, if you lose your family, you are a failure in that aspect of life. You are a failure because your family is a trust that God has given to you in your own hand to take care of. God has given you that trust to take care of. He has entrusted your family into your hands. So if you fail your family, you have failed God. So it is not enough to be successful in your purpose and lose your family. It is enough to balance the both. So I pray that God will really help us to, like this point I've listed. If you didn't start with us from the beginning, Benny Give, thank you for joining. If you didn't start from the beginning, you can go through this video, list all the points I have listed, and carefully watch your children, your niece, your cousins, your brothers and sisters, if they are behaving in the manner I have listed today, so you can become their friends. Look for a way to buy them gifts and become their friends. By so doing, you get to know the truth from them. If they have been molested before and the person who molested them have left the compound or the school or wherever, as long as they tell you the name of the person and who the person is, you can trace them from there. So if you are able to fight for that child, believe me, you have just added a value to the life of that child, because that child will now feel so secure that auntie, mommy and daddy later fought for me even after this person took advantage of me. So that trauma, that psychology will start reducing. Then they will have to start teaching the child, trying to talk him or her out of that thing that happened to them. By so doing, you have secured their future, because they will now start loving humans. They will now start having self-worth and self-esteem. So I hope you've enjoyed today. Thank you so much to every one of you who have commented, who have shared, who have liked. I am so humbled by having you here to come join me, and let's speak up for the voiceless children. God bless you so much, and it's always good having you on my platform. If you missed yesterday's video, it is still on my platform. You can check my YouTube channel, Topsy Gifts, and my Facebook, like your hair Facebook channel. You can check it and watch from previous videos that I've done. I'm sure you will learn something from it. So thank you so much, guys. God bless you, and do have a lovely day. So bye.